It's March Madness and we back. I'm here to fill out my bracket with y'all. I am Pee Wee the Plug. I am no bracket genius, but I am a guy that knows a thing or two. And last year, a lot of people showed me love and was highly anticipating this video because I had the Oral Roberts prediction of them going really, really far. And I made a lot of people some money. We called that perfectly. I had them losing to Moses Moody in Arkansas. So a lot of people respect my opinion when it comes to March Madness. I do want to say, though, with me being respected, with me knowing a thing or two, to predict this 64 team bracket is the hardest thing to do in the world. So by no means do I want anybody to think that by listening or doing what I'm doing is going to get you the perfect bracket. We just want to enlighten you about different teams and different matchups and what to look for when filling out your bracket. But without further ado, let's dive in. And we're going to start our West in the West region with Gonzaga. Gonzaga, Georgia State. A lot of games like this, I'm not even going to spend time explaining or talking about. We're taking Gonzaga. Only one 16 seed has ever beaten a 1. And that was when Virginia lost a couple years ago. And then they bounced back and then won the title shortly after that. 8-9 matchup. It's a lot of tough 8-9 matchups in this bracket. Boise State against Memphis. It's going to be a tough one. Boise State isn't a pushover. Memphis has been playing some of his best basketball to close out the regular season, so I like that with them. Ultimately, I prefer Memphis's depth and their size. They have a lot of length. Jalen Duren inside, so I'm gonna take Memphis with that. But I want to put it out there. These 8-9 matchups are probably some of the best opening round games that we're going to get because these are teams that are as close as you can get. You know what I mean? This is flip of a coin. In this situation, I'm taking Memphis on a 70-30%. I do like Boise State and what they've been doing all year. But I like I said, Memphis size and depth I can't pass over. UConn and New Mexico State. This is a tough one for me just because I like UConn. They've been a respectable team all year. They have the guard play. They got rim protection. New Mexico State, though, they have a nice backcourt. I do like Teddy Allen. Been a fan of him for a while now. New Mexico State definitely was a team that I wanted to pick for the upset, but because of the poised point guard play from R.J. Cole on UConn, I'm giving them a slight edge. But New Mexico State will not be a easy win for UConn. I'm just putting it out there. I really do like New Mexico State. But I just in the NCAA tournament, March Madness, point guard play is very, very important. And R.J. Cole has been a guy all year that in the big moments, in the big game, UConn can rely on him to close it out. And then that interior defense is just, it's a headache for a lot of teams. So I'm going UConn there. Arkansas, Vermont. I was seeing a lot of people take Vermont. A lot of quote-unquote experts. I'm not going that route. I like Arkansas. They've been up and down in the SEC tournament and the SEC conference play, but that's one of the better, conferences in all of college basketball. So I'm going to go Arkansas over Vermont. I believe I don't know the percentages, but I've seen quite a few people take Vermont. They're not my favorite 413. I think I do have a 413 upset because the percentages are high, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not going against J.D. Note and Jalen Williams and Devontae Davis off that bench. Chris Likes. I really like Arkansas, and like I said, they had some tough losses in the SEC, but I still think that they're a superior team over Vermont. So I'm picking them. As far as Alabama and Rutgers go, we don't have the deciding factor of who's going to win, Rutgers or Notre Dame. I'm taking Rutgers. Regardless, I got to go with Nate Oates in Alabama. That open offense that they run with all of the guards, Shackelford, JQ, J.D. Davis, and the bigs being able to shoot, run the floor, and they just play an up-tempo style of basketball that I prefer when it comes time to the tournament. Keon Ellis, they're a deep team. Nate Oates is always ready for some March Madness in college basketball since he was at Buffalo. I really like this Alabama team. I'm extremely high on this team. I haven't filled out a bracket. This is my first time filling out a bracket, so I don't know where they're going to end up, but I do love Alabama a lot. Next, we got Texas Tech and Montana State. I think Texas Tech takes that one easily. Terrence Shannon Jr. and the Texas Tech team been really good all year. I love what they do defensively. Even when they didn't have Terrence Shannon, they do a lot of stuff defensively that throws off their opponents. And I think they're going to they're going to tumble over Montana State fairly easily. Michigan State and Davidson. This is a tough one for me personally, just because I like this Davidson team. Hung Young Lee has been amazing. They have a nice offensive system. They got some size there, but it's super hard to go against Tom Izzo when it comes to tournament basketball. Tom Izzo really figures it out around the tournament time, and it's hard to ever pick against Michigan State, especially in the opening round. I don't love the Michigan State team. They've been up and down all year. They do have some bright spots, Gabe Brown, Max Christie, but I'm going to take Davidson. I'm going to take Davidson. That's one I could see myself maybe going back on later, revising this. But as of right now, Davidson and the shooting, the size, the inconsistency from Michigan State, it is making me lean Davidson way. But that's going to be a tough one. That's a, for Michigan State to be handed a 7 seed, the reward isn't that beautiful to have to play against the Davidson. Davidson, man, Hung Young Lee is going to show. He's going to show a lot of people who he is. I think if you don't know who he is, don't worry. You don't have to go watch any highlights. Don't do any research. Just make sure you tune into that game, because that dude can hoop, and he's becoming an NBA prospect. The next one, Duke versus Cal State Fullerton. I'm taking Duke. We're not even going to waste no time discussing that. Now in the East region, I believe we're in. We have Baylor, Norfolk State. We taking Baylor. North Carolina, Marquette, kind of like Boise State and Memphis. This is going to be another tough one, that 8-9 matchup. This can go literally either way. I like what I've seen from both teams to close the year. North Carolina started playing some of their better basketball, especially with that late season win over Duke. That was a very impressive win. Marquette has some impressive wins. Justin Lewis. It's going to be tough, but I think I'm giving the edge to North Carolina. They just have a lot. They have Baycott. They have Caleb Love. I like Manick, who from Oklahoma, who played with Trae Young when they were freshmen. He can space the floor around Baycott. I like them a lot to pull that off. So North Carolina over Marquette. St. Mary's. St. Mary's has had an impressive year all year. They had even a good win over Gonzaga, if I'm not mistaken. But Indiana has been on fire. They are rolling. They came very close to winning the Big Ten championship. Shout out to Coach Mike Woodson, former Knick coach. And I like Trace Jackson Davis, Xavier Johnson. They're gritty. It feels like they have a chance in literally every single game. You can say that they're playing lower to competition when they play teams that they're much better than. You can say they're playing up to competition. I don't know. But every game that they play, they have a swinger's chance. Not even a swinger's chance, because a swinger's chance is like everybody has a chance. But every game that they're in, Indiana makes teams play their game, and they keep it close, and they rely on their guys like Trace in that front court. And I'm going to go with Indiana, man. I'm going with Indiana to get the upset. When they're playing it, like I said, they're playing their best basketball. This is the time to be turning it up and figuring things out. Next game, we got UCLA over Akron. UCLA is just too polished, too well coached, and they have too many weapons at their disposal to lose that game, in my opinion. Texas versus Virginia Tech. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I'm not a big fan of Texas this year. I think they could have been a better team. I thought they would be a better team, but they've kind of had some tough losses. They have had some impressive wins, I will say that. But the way Virginia Tech played in the ACC tournament, man, it's hard to pick against them with the shooting that they were doing, how they played against Duke. I'm rolling with Virginia Tech, and the inconsistencies of Texas all year kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It kind of rubs me the wrong way. I'm not really sold on Texas. It's too iffy, way too iffy. Purdue Yale. Yale has been good. They played well in their conference championship and in their conference tournament. But ultimately Purdue is just too much. Jaden Ivey, Zach Edey, Stefanovic, they just Travion Williams, they have a lot. I think Purdue is one of the best well-rounded teams with a lot of options. They've had some disappointing losses for sure. I thought they would be a lot better heading into the tournament. But I like teams that have a little bit of everything. They can play a lot of different brands of basketball. They can go big, they can go small, they can shoot the ball, they can drive it, they can defend. So it's going to be interesting to see them throughout the tournament. Murray State and San Francisco. Both of these teams are impressive. Murray State is a well-oiled machine, an elite basketball team. They're only low because of the conference that they play in. They didn't play against enough competition like some of these other teams with higher seedings, like a UCLA, like a Texas. But they are extremely good. You know, they got inside presence, they got outside presence. KJ Williams, I believe his name is the inside guy for them. I'm a big fan. I liked how he started the season. I was keeping up with him a lot. They also have, I believe, let me see if they got the information here. Sometimes they'll say a player name or anything. Yes, KJ Williams and then Tevin Brown. Tevin Brown and KJ Williams, I feel like they play off of each other extremely well. Tevin Brown with the outside perimeter shooting, playing off of the ball. KJ Williams being a double-double machine. It's going to be a lot. And San Francisco is a team that has a dual backcourt that can really give you a lot of buckets and give you a lot of trouble. But I'm not sure if they'll be able to stop the inside-outside punch of Murray State and if that backcourt will be enough. So ultimately, I have to go with Murray State, but I do think that could potentially be one of the most exciting and best games of the opening first round, unless one of these 1 seeds or 2 seeds gets upsetted by a 15th or 16th seed, which I don't have in my bracket. All the 1 and 2 teams in every region, I'm pretty sure advances out of the first round. Unless something like that happens, I think the Murray State and San Francisco game can measure up to be one of the most exciting opening round games that we have. You know, it's supposed to be like the 8 and 9s. That's supposed to be the most close. But I think that game right there in particular can do that. Kentucky versus St. Peter's. We rolling with Kentucky. Now over to, I don't even know which side we at no more. I think this is the South. I could be extremely wrong. Let's see. Hit the South. Where's the South at? It ain't even going. I think this is South, though. If it ain't the South, don't hurt me. We're going to Arizona side. Arizona side of the bracket. They don't have their opponent yet. Bryant, maybe that would be my guess, is that Bryant wins and they're the 16th seed. It don't really matter. We're taking Arizona, one of the most polished and rounded number 1 seeds. I like everything about them, from the outside to the inside to the length, the way that they play. They're an exciting team. If you haven't watched Arizona, you should try to watch as many of their games as you can during this tournament, because they have NBA prospects. And like I said, they play an NBA style. They get up and down. They can defend. When I talked about Purdue, they're kind of the same way. Christian Koloko, Benedict Mathurin, Terry, they are very well rounded. And I think they have a very good chance of winning the championship this year. March Madness, college basketball is at its best when Arizona is an elite team. You know how people say the NBA is better when the Knicks are good, the Lakers are good, stuff like that. That's how Arizona is to college basketball, in my opinion. One of my favorite programs when I was growing up. Seton Hall, TCU, kind of like Boise State and Memphis, another tough matchup. I really think this game can go either way. I like Kadari Richmond. I like Jared Roden with TCU. Mike Miles has been solid all year. Ultimately, I got to give it to Seton Hall. I'm not a big fan of how TCU shoots the ball, and I think the perimeter game is going to be very, very important in this tournament. As we know, it is every year. And as much as I like Mike Miles, I give the edge to Seton Hall. But that is one that, again, kind of like Davis and Michigan State, some of these picks are ones that I think I could go back and forth with the entire time leading up into the actual tip-off of the tournament. Houston UAB. I was impressed with UAB in their conference tournament. They made a lot of noise, did a lot of impressive things, but the way Houston played, especially against Memphis, you know, a couple days ago, really impressed me. They don't even have Marcus Sasser. Kevin Sampson is going to get the job done, so I got to go with Houston. They always find a way to make some type of noise in the tournament. Illinois and Chattanooga. I know Chattanooga can hoop. They got a guy who does a little bit of everything for them, scores, rebounds. I just don't think they're going to have enough for Kofi on the inside. But I would tune into that game to see. Let me see if they got his name up there, because it's slipping my mind. Chattanooga. Malachi Smith. If you can, tune in, get a glimpse of Malachi Smith. He's been good all year. But again, the inside presence that Illinois is going to bring with Kofi is just going to be too much for Chattanooga to handle ultimately. So I got Illinois winning that game. Colorado State and Michigan. So I like Colorado State. I like the way that they play. They play good basketball all year. But Michigan, if there is any team that could kind of offset it, it could be Michigan. You know what I mean? With Caleb Houston, I know he's been inconsistent, but when he's shooting the ball well, they are scary. Even Dickerson in the inside, and his presence has been too much. They got Juwan Howard back. Michigan, I think Michigan is a better team than advertised, personally. I think they have extremely good guard play. Eli Brooks has been big for them at times. Diabate off the bench is good. A part of me wants to go Colorado State because the way that they play, they're going to shoot the 3-ball well and everything. But a part of me likes Michigan because of the overall experience, the veteran leadership, and the coaching. This is a tough one. We're going to skip that one. We're going to go to Tennessee, though, over Longwood. I'm taking Loyola Chicago over Ohio State. Shout out to my Ohio State fans, but Loyola, trust me, just trust me on this one. Loyola's going to get the job done. I do think Ohio State is better this year than they've been. I think that could be debatable. The Dwayne Washington team was from last year. I think that could be an argument. Villanova over Delaware. Again, I'm trying to keep it rolling. Kansas over Texas Southern. San Diego State and Creighton. I'm taking Creighton. I love the way that Creighton played in the tournament. I'm not sure if Nembhard is coming back or whatever that situation is, but even without him, they've been playing really, really good. I like their big man a lot. I think he's like a sophomore with the long last name. He has like a weird last name. Obviously, they have Alex O'Connell, the Duke transfer. The Creighton is very, very good, and they do have a good freshman over there who's been exciting. Iowa and Richmond. Richmond has the Burton kid who can really, really shoot it. I seen him when I was doing my draft work early in the season. He can shoot the ball lights out. But the way Keegan Murray and Iowa has been playing is probably won't even be much of a matchup. For Providence versus South Dakota State, here's our Cinderella team, y'all. South Dakota State. They play so perfect for March Madness basketball. They have the kid with the headband, the lefty. He shoots it. The entire team shoots it. They're going to space the floor. They got some small ball stuff going on, but they play big enough on the inside with the center who's more of like a power forward. They can do 4 out, 1 in, 5 out. They drive, they finish, they play up tempo. I like South Dakota State as a Cinderella. They're going to be my Cinderella team in this bracket, I believe. The one thing about predicting Cinderellas or trying to find one, you know one is going to be there. But if they don't go as far as you predict, things could get ugly. Things could get extremely ugly, if they lose in the first round. LSU, Iowa State. I want to go at Iowa State because of the stuff that LSU is dealing with. Their coach got fired right before the tournament. Just very weird and just strange. But I'm going to still go with LSU because of the defensive presence and the versatility that they have and how much they can beat you up and get into you. Wisconsin, Colgate. I know a lot of people want Colgate because of how well they shoot the 3, but Wisconsin is battle tested. Big Ten basketball, Johnny Davis. They have a lot of impressive wins over teams like Purdue. And just because of how sharp they are, and because they do have the best player on the floor, Johnny Davis, who can take over games, I have to give Wisconsin the edge over there. But I do know a lot of people is in love with the Colgate pick. Miami, USC. Isaiah Mobley, Evan Mobley's little brother, is there. Boogie Ellis. So I like that for USC. But on Miami, I like the point guard play from Moore, Isaiah Wong. I like their front court. They got a 5 who can stretch the floor. I'm taking Miami with the upset over USC, and then I'm taking Auburn over Jacksonville State. Now to reverse our way back up, we're taking Auburn over Miami. They're going to just be too strong. Walker Kessler, Jabari Parker. Wisconsin over LSU. As good as the LSU is defensively, Johnny Davis is just a nightmare to have to deal with. I'm taking South Dakota State over Iowa. The 3-point shooting and the style of basketball is going to be too much for Iowa to handle, and South Dakota State continues their Cinderella run. Kansas and Creighton. I want to take Creighton, but Kansas is just too polished with Braun and Abaji, McCormick, Jalen Wilson. They're just too polished, and I'm not going to allow myself to be deceived with the thought that they could potentially lose to Creighton. So I'm going there. We're taking Villanova over Loyola. I'm going to take Michigan over Colorado State. I may regret that. Oh, well, I have to make a pick. Tennessee is beating Michigan or Colorado State regardless. Houston or Illinois. We're going Houston with the upset. Kevin Sampson just knows how to coach. Arizona storming their way through Seton Hall. And then back on the other side of the bracket, Gonzaga is going to be too much for Memphis and Penny Hardaway. UConn is going to be too much for the Arkansas Razorbacks, as much as I like them. We got Alabama going over Texas Tech. Duke is going to beat Davidson. Baylor and North Carolina is going to be a tougher one for me. I think that could really go back and forth. I'm ultimately going to give the edge to Baylor. They've been just a much better team, more consistent all year. But that front court interior, they're missing their big man. And Baycott may expose that, but I don't know if that'll be enough with Sohan and Kendall Brown for Baylor. Indiana and UCLA, as much as I like Indiana and the momentum that they've been having, UCLA is just too polished. They're kind of a team that's made for the tournament, as we saw their run last year. Mike Cronin and Johnny Juzang, Peyton Watson, Jaquez, Tiger. They're well polished, man. Give me UCLA in that matchup. Virginia Tech, as good of a run that they had coming off that ACC tournament. I gotta go Purdue, and then Murray State, Kentucky. Murray State with the upset over Kentucky, man. It's gonna be a big one. So now that we got Kentucky out, Purdue in, we got Baylor, UCLA. The Sweet 16 is shaping up really, really nice. As good of a run UConn had, Chet Holmgren, Andrew Nembhard, Drew Timme it's going to be tough to beat them, and I don't think UConn has enough, so ultimately I'm giving Gonzaga the edge there. Alabama and Duke. Listen, I like Duke. They have a lot of NBA draft potential on that team with Paolo, Trevor Keels, Mark Williams, Wendell Moore, AJ Griffin. That's a very, very good team. But Alabama and Nate Oates and the style of play that they play, they're going to be tough because they spread you out. Mark Williams can't just sit around the paint all day and shot block. A lot of isolation. You're going to have to guard really well. They shoot a lot of threes. They're never out of a game, no matter how big of a lead you get. They're kind of irritating to play, if you ask me. And I think they're going to edge Duke and find their ways to the Elite Eight against Gonzaga, which was an earlier preview this year in which Alabama won. But we'll get to that. Baylor and UCLA, a 1-4 matchup. As much as I like Baylor, I'm giving the edge to UCLA just because, like I said, I feel like they're a team that's built for the tournament. They have that experience. Last year speaks so much volumes to that. I really do like that Baylor team, but boy, UCLA is hard to pass up on, and I think they're going to edge them out in a very, very tight one. This game could make me look foolish. Baylor could just, win this game and mess up my whole bracket. But that's what we're here for. It's March Madness. We're taking chances. We're taking risks. Nobody's bracket is going to be perfect, so there's no reason to play it safe. Let's go on. Let's make some noise. Purdue, Murray State. Murray State is well of a run that they had. They run into some guys with some size and some versatility. Like I said earlier, Purdue is just too well put together. I know they've had some crazy losses, but their losses have been like on buzzer beater shots and, somebody makes an incredible off the glass 3-point shot. I just don't think that matters at this point. And I'm going to give Purdue the edge over Murray State and in Murray State's run. On the other side of the bracket, we have Arizona, Houston. Arizona is just too good. This game might not even be that close as far as like 5-point window. This could be like a 9 to 10-point win for Arizona because they're that good. Tennessee versus Villanova. Listen, I wasn't that big of a believer in Tennessee, but when I watched the SEC tournament, it made me a believer. They have pace. They have guards. They can make free throws. They can make threes. They have size in the front court. They have bench depth. Josiah James, Kennedy Chandler, Brandon Huntley. I really like Tennessee, so I'm taking Tennessee over Villanova. Villanova normally isn't a team you want to go against when it comes tournament time. They're coached so damn good. But I gotta take Tennessee over Jay Wright. I'm sorry, Jay Wright, one of my favorite college coaches. Kansas State, South Dakota State. I mean, not Kansas State. Kansas against South Dakota State. This may be where South Dakota State and their run ends. The Sweet 16 is a nice place, to make it to. Kansas is just, it's Kansas. Kansas is just Kansas. I don't even know what to say. Kansas just has everything, and ultimately the 3-point shooting that South Dakota State has, and their star guy, the lefty or whatever. At some point they're going to run out a little bit of a juice, right? And because Kansas has the size, they have the experience, and they're battle tested, I have to ultimately give them the favorable win over South Dakota State. It was an incredible run. And then Wisconsin and Auburn may be a dogfight. It may be a dogfight. Auburn has scared me at times. They've scared me at times. Anytime your backcourt can be 1 of 21, going into the second half, and I forget against Texas A&M, that's a bit worrisome. No matter how good Jabari Smith Jr. is, that could be worrisome for a team like that. But ultimately, I am going to give Auburn the slight edge because of the rim protection they have from Walker Kessler, because he can step out and make some shots, because Jabari Jr. Smith and the size that he has, Green that they have, I don't think they're going that backcourt is going to combine for 1 of 21 shooting. Allen Flanigan. I'm gonna give Auburn the edge over Johnny Davis and Wisconsin. And here we are. We're in the Elite Eight, where again I'm giving Auburn that win over Kansas. I take that back. I'm giving Kansas that win. I'm giving Kansas. Abaji and Connor Brown is too. It's gonna be too much for them to handle, and I don't think Auburn has the veteran leadership that Kansas is gonna have. Remy Martin. They're a very well put together team. Even though I'm not a big Kansas guy, I gotta go Kansas there. Arizona over Tennessee. They're just too well oiled and well polished. Alabama Gonzaga. Alabama beat Gonzaga earlier in the year, which doesn't mean much now that we're in March. Which is tough, and I hate when my bracket gets like this. I'm gonna be honest. I do not like when my bracket is like this. It gives me a bad feeling. It makes me feel like my bracket is bad because I'm on pace to have 3 potential 1 seeds in the Final Four, and history tells us that it's normally not like that. I like my bracket down here with the UCLA and Purdue, a 4-3 matchup. Where we have a lot of high seeds making it, which as open as the NCAA season has been, even with the top, no team has came out and looked perfect. Everybody's lost. Everybody's looked, had their game where they just didn't look that good. I'm gonna give UCLA a loss to Purdue. Purdue is headed to the Final Four, and Gonzaga, Alabama. I'm gonna give Gonzaga the edge in the rematch, man. Gonzaga is ready for that game. They're probably super prepared. They probably had a bad taste in their mouth as soon as they lost that game. And the size that they have is probably going to overpower Alabama there. And here we are in the Final Four. Purdue and Gonzaga. Purdue has been one of the teams I've spoken of highly all year. Zach Edey against Chet Holmgren. Drew Timme and Travion Williams, Jaden Ivey, and Andrew Nembhard. This is going to be a very, very good matchup. And I think I'm ultimately going to give the edge to Purdue. I'm going to give the edge to Arizona. I take that back, man. We're going Gonzaga, Arizona. And I'm going to give... If this is the championship game, if this could be the championship game, it's going to be one of the most exciting championship games we've had in a very long time. Something wants me to take Purdue, but I'm going to take Gonzaga. And I'm going to give the edge to Arizona. And it's going to be... What do these teams average? Let's see what these teams average. They both average 60. We're going to make this game 69 to, check this out, 68. 1-point win for Arizona. I'm going to enter. And that's my bracket, man. That is my bracket. We'll do it off camera. I didn't know I had to sign up when I'm already signed up. Boom. Arizona is my winner. Ultimately, like I said, I'm not here to convince you that my bracket is going to be perfect. I'm just more here to enlighten you on guys and teams that can make runs, that could be potential upsetters that to really key on and look at. Do your research. South Dakota State, Murray State, San Francisco. Like I said, people love that Colgate over Wisconsin in the first round. Vermont over Arkansas. There's a lot of teams out there. I'm really trying to find and gauge some 15 seeds, 2 and 15. The 1 and 16 matchup is just too overpowering. I'm looking at 2 and 15. I don't really see much there. New Mexico State, and I forget who they're playing at. That could be a tough matchup. Let's go real quick as we wrap up the video. 1 second. Let's look at the bracket again. New Mexico State and UConn. Davidson and Michigan State. Marquette, North Carolina. Texas, Virginia Tech, Murray State, San Francisco. I'm just trying to highlight some games that I really think y'all should pay attention to when it comes to your bracket. UCLA and Miami, South Dakota State and Providence. A lot of people like myself really believe in South Dakota State, but the scary part about that is, like I was saying earlier, if South Dakota State was to lose that to Providence, because Providence and Ed Cooley, their coach, they've been very good. You know what I mean? They've been very, very good all year. I'm a fan of Nate Watson, AJ Reeves. So it's like if South Dakota State doesn't pull off the upset, a lot of our brackets are going to be shitty. You know what I mean? A lot of our brackets are predicting a upset that isn't going to happen is just as bad as not predicting the upset, because your bracket is busted either way. So those are games. Creighton and San Diego State is something I would pay attention to. Ohio State, Loyola. And then last but not least, I would say Colorado and Michigan. Those are games I would really key into, y'all, because I think those matchups can really be the make or break part of our brackets. I appreciate y'all. This is always fun. I hope I told y'all some details that can help you filling out your bracket. I hope you guys make as perfect of a bracket as you can, and I hope some of my predictions go right. And if they do, y'all know who to credit. We will see y'all next year. Let me know who y'all got in the comments for some of these upsets. If there's some upset I didn't predict, is there something, one of y'all teams I upset it against that you like, no way in hell is Michigan losing to Colorado State? Or you like, no way in hell Ohio State is losing to Loyola? Let me know in the comments. Talk to me. We got about a day or so before this stuff happens. So change my mind. Help me out. My bracket is far from over. I told y'all it's a bunch of picks I might go back on for the rest of the day here. But as of right now, Arizona is my NCAA champion. And this is my bracket. I'm Pee Wee the Plug. I'm out. Peace.